What's up guys, this is Danny from Rethink Peer-to-Peer Lending. In today's video I will provide you with an update on my current portfolio developments as well as discuss the most recent events that have happened on a number of platforms. Prior to this video I also had a chat with both CEOs from LANDE and Income Marketplace, so if you're interested to hear some exclusive news from both platforms, make sure to stick around until the end. But first, let's have a look at my current peer-to-peer lending portfolio and what happened in February. Overall, I was able to earn 420 euros in interest payments, which is now the fourth consecutive month in a row with more than 400 euros through my peer-to-peer investments. A personal best income record was achieved at Esketit with 40.58 and on Income Marketplace with 42.55. The performance is still led by PeerBerry. 12.81% is a personal best for me on the platform, and the same goes for Income with 11.31% and for Twino with 10.29% as well. On the other hand, the return on Estateguru continues to plummet. 7.62% is the lowest total return since October 2019. The only transaction in the last month happened on Esketit, where I invested another 2,000 euro. My outstanding portfolio increased from 62,587 euros to now 65,017 euros in the month of February. I'm assuming that the mark of 70,000 euros will most likely be hit in the second quarter. Next up, let's have a look at the most recent developments that have happened on a number of platforms. In March, PeerBerry partners have continued to pay back war-effective loans, with 1.7 million euros coming back recently to investors' accounts. If repayments continue at this pace, then all outstanding debts from the Russian and Ukrainian portfolio should be settled towards the end of Q3 or the beginning of Q4. Due to high demand from investor side, new regulations and an overall smaller supply, most PeerBerry partners have now lowered the interest offer for their loans. The same goes for platforms such as Robocash or Esketit that have responded in the same way in recent weeks. As for me personally, this will not impact my investment decision on those platforms, since I'm willing to accept a slightly lower interest rate considering the stability that those platforms offer in return. Next up, we are looking at Bondora, where 19.2 million euros have been funded last month, which is the third highest amount in the history of the platform. On the opposite side, we can see that investor demand continues to decline, as in February only about 1,000 new investors have signed up on the platform. Clearly, a 4% interest on an unregulated platform is not an appealing offer in the current market environment. If Bondora continues at this pace, then the proclaimed 1 million customers will be achieved in about 65 years from now.
The next big milestone is reaching 1 million active customers within a very short timeline.
Another interesting observation came from a recent article on the Bondora blog, where it seems that the average interest rate in the Netherlands is only at 7.5%, which is way lower compared to the other markets. This could be explained by a very conservative lending approach. However, considering potential defaults, this interest will hardly be sustainable for the platform in the long term. Looking at the Estateguru, we can see that the performance hasn't changed much since last month. 35% of the entire portfolio is still in the process of recovery, and the situation in Germany remains particularly tense, with more than 70 million euros of loans being defaulted. To offer a little bit of hope, I have put together now 4 reasons why investors should be a little bit more optimistic regarding the current situation. Number 1 is to have a little bit more of pragmatism about it, because clearly the situation can't get any worse. Number 2 is the communication output, which has clearly improved as of late. The platform stated that they now plan to publish a monthly status report until at least 80% of the defaulted loans have been recovered. Thirdly, it is the measures that have now been initiated, particularly in Germany. Loan agreements have been terminated, 32 enforcement proceedings have been initiated, and apparently they have already found some buyers for their projects. And the fourth reason is the historical returns on defaulted loans that Estateguru has achieved throughout the years. Next up, we are looking at Esketit, where 18.4 million euros have been funded in February, which increased the outstanding portfolio amount to 28.6 million euros. This is a similar performance to the previous month, despite fewer days and adjusted interest rates for Jordan loans, which have been reduced from 14 to 12%. Adding up to this, also Cream Finance has recently lowered the interest rate to 11%. According to Esketit, the Cream Finance Group achieved yet another record-breaking profit in 2022, which would mean more than 3.4 million euros. The audited results are promised to be delivered anytime soon. A new record has also been achieved on LANDE, where investors, for the first time ever, financed more than 1 million euro in loans on a monthly basis. This seems like a remarkable result considering the seasonal circumstances with a smaller supply. In my conversation with LANDE CEO Nikita Gonzas, I wanted to know how big the supply should be at the moment to satisfy all the investor demand, and this is what he had to say about it.
Actually, I had the same thought, and already, we spoke with the sales teams that we feel that we can go up to 2 million a month easily, because I mean, the industry, and we are not the platform who is, screaming on each channel like, please invest or register. Like we're not making any activities at all right now. So the growth is mostly organic. We are not launching any Google ads, or any other ads to increase the base. Now we're focusing on building the platform. So I think 2 million is doable already now on a monthly basis.
Since the demand can no longer be satisfied only with the Latvian loan market, this is what Nikita had to say about their expansion progress in Romania.
We cannot even satisfy any more investors' demand with the Baltics, so it's not enough. And we had this plan to enter new markets, and we made a lot of effort to establish Romania on the legal side, on the employee side. We got a pretty good regional manager in Romania. Already met with a lot of farming associations and farmers and so on. Like me and Yanis, our head of legal, and also our head of sales already traveled to Romania, to establish operations. And I feel that this is an important point, for at least for this year, to establish this market and to increase the supply.
In the next clip, he is following up with the targets that LANDE wants to hit in 2023.
We look at the last year. We have issued, I think, 5.5 million in total, but in Latvia mostly, and a little bit in Lithuania. So this year we want to do like around 8 till 10 million in the Baltics, like because Latvia is growing each year and Lithuania is establishing. And for Romania, like we want on a monthly basis to match this amount. So if we look like at 800 or 1 million in the Baltics, so maybe in like the end of the year, December, we will have 1 million in Romania.
A recent concern for some investors has been the lack of communication and support. Now, here is what Nikita had to say on what is to be expected in the future.
The project is to improve the communication on delayed loans. We are updating all the loans, in the loan details. So if you have invested in this loan and if it's delayed, you see the notification of what's going on. Some of them are automated, some of them are manual. What we want to implement now, so we want to create a monthly summary of what was done, because it's good to see the whole picture, not just to go into one loan.
Finally, we also discussed the European crowdfunding service provider license, which Nikita said will most likely be obtained by latest November this year. And probably more important for many investors, as of this very moment, there is no introduction of a withholding tax rate to be expected.
For FCMC license, it's different from brokerage license, which marketplaces receive. So the withholding tax is currently not discussed and not included in the local law or in the European regulation.
Last but not least, we are looking at Income Marketplace, where 4.6 million euros have been financed last month, which is a new personal best for the platform. once again, I was very curious to understand the current supply-demand ratio, and this is what Income CEO Kimmo Ritkönen had to say about it.
Total outstanding is about 8.5. I think if we can double during this year, then we're already quite happy with it. And let's say that's a realistic projection that we double. If we keep the supply up, the demand is there. If we keep the supply up and if we can add a few nice, good loan originators, which we already have in the pipeline, then I think doubling is for sure doable.
A very big part of our conversation was circled surrounding the defaulted loan originator ClickCash, where it seems like very little progress has been made in the past months.
So what we communicated originally was that the book, the pledged book, and as you know, we do the pledged book or we do the analysis when we start the cooperation, and then we do an updated due diligence on a recurring basis. So we do it after a year or after half a year. And in the case of the pledge structure, the book that ClickCash had as a security has deteriorated for whatever reason in Brazil much faster than was expected. So actually, I don't think we've ever communicated that there will be a full recovery. What we said that we're looking at it that at least 50,000 is coming from the book, and this 50,000 will be recovered by August.
In terms of the remaining 120,000 euros, it seems like a solution is slowly forming up in the background, although official communication might take until the end of April.
So we're collecting whatever's coming now from the pledge book. In addition to this, obviously, we're talking with them. We know that they are raising funding. We are discussing a full payment with those guys, which would come from outside the pledged book. But at this point, it's a little bit too early to say when and how. There's a lot of moving parts. If everything goes favorably, we are kind of in an understanding with them that they will be covering it from the non-pledged book. But these things take quite a bit of time. So hopefully by, let's say, the end of this month or latest in April, we'll have something concrete on these discussions to give to the investors.
On a positive note, it seems like that there is still a very good exchange between both parties, and there seems to be a sincere willingness from the LO to cover the outstanding debts, which obviously is contrary to the situation that some other marketplaces find themselves in, if we think about Mintos and Vovo, for instance. And hence the slight optimism from the Income CEO that finally everything will turn out well for investors in the end.
It is a bit of a problematic situation, to be honest, but I have a relatively positive feeling about it that this will turn out well for the investors as well.
And lastly, I was also questioning if maybe some legal options would be on the table, and this is how Kimmo responded.
I think that the weakness of any structure is that when the book gets relatively small, and now if we're talking about hundreds of thousands, then engaging with lawyers can be done, but legal fees can take a significant chunk out of actually the recoverable part. And that's why at this point we decided, and the fact that they've been responsive, we are in active discussion, they have the will to pay, then we decided that we'll actually allow them to run down the book instead of going in and enforcing on the book. A decision made in the best interest of investors, not to spend, 50,000 of investor money on legal fees and otherwise.
Now, at this point, we could go even further into detail. However, I would like to pick up this topic again on another occasion in the future. For now, I want to say thanks if you were sticking around until the end. If you found some value in this video, then please do me a favor, give it a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. Your next video is going to appear right here on the screen, and I'll see you over there.